Oh god. Oh god. ReDead! Probably one of the most terrifying experiences from my childhood involved having to get the Sun Song in Ocarina of Time. I watched my older brother lead the charge on this endeavor, but we never expected something so frightening to be lurking in the crypts below. That was when we first encountered it. The ReDead. A shambling, moaning, zombie-like being that was capable of freezing Link in terror as it slowly closed in. As a young boy who had never experienced such a concept before, I was just as immobilized as Link was on the screen. My heart raced in my chest and my vision flickered as I attempted to delve deeper into the tomb. And then I gave the controller to my older brother and asked him to do it for me, because screw that. This same iconic creature appeared many other times as I grew up, although by then I had already lost the sense of fear I once had. When I stopped to think about it though, it often made me wonder, what is a ReDead? I was definitely more fascinated with the ReDeads from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Due to the pixely nature of the Nintendo 64 on our older television, I couldn't make out too many details other than it looked like a zombie. I thought its body and coloring were a bit strange though, and its face looked like it had been smashed. If it was a zombie, where did its nose hole go? The Super Smash Bros. Series definitely shed some well-needed light on the subject. Both in Super Smash Bros. Melee and the newest Super Smash Bros., ReDeads are described as not being human, but rather a creation of magic. Melee specifically says they are just magic animated into hideous human shapes, while the Wii U and 3DS title goes a bit further in the description. These creatures may look like zombies, but ReDeads weren't human to begin with. They appear to be clay monsters fashioned in the shape of humans. Judging by their bodies and faces, the whole clay thing did make sense. I often thought the face of a ReDead looked like a clay doll that had holes poked into its head to give off the impression of eyes and a mouth. In theory, their weakness to the sun would make sense then because they would just dry out and break. However, even in the royal family's tomb where you first encounter them, there are hints that say otherwise. The only thing these could possibly be referring to are the ReDeads themselves. So, are they clay dolls or the animated corpses of the deceased? Well, with a bit of help from Agaro in Majora's Mask, we learned that ReDeads in the Akana region were once members of the castle's dancing troupe, which points them back to zombies, and rekindles my childhood fear in them. That is, unless these clay dolls are now possessed by the spirits of the troupe. But wait, if we take a bit of a closer look at the sticker that is within Brawl, we start to get a lot of the more freaky details that takes us back into Zombieland. Those are definitely bones, veins, and one hell of a freaky wooden mask. So much back and forth. And we haven't even thrown in those blue-skinned weirdos or the Ninja Gaiden zombies into the mix. But that detail about the wooden mask is actually pretty important because I was never actually able to make the distinction myself about what a ReDead's face actually consisted of. I knew there was a spooky mask you could get as a kid, but until revisiting the subject, I never knew what it was actually made of. If you wear it when you talk to the lake scientist, he tells you that the mask is made from a wooden plank that used to be part of a coffin. So the mask itself might not just be made to look like a ReDead, it might actually be the mask that a ReDead wears. Where these masks are crafted and why they are made is still a mystery. But the fact that someone thought it'd be neat to play dress up with some zombies is both a little eerie, but also pretty cool. Further support for the zombie side is solidified through another enemy in the Zelda series, the Gibdo. Gibdos in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask act like a stronger version of the ReDead. However, burning away their bandages reveal a ReDead, and in earlier games, a Stalfos. If bones are present under the wrapping, that pretty much means whatever is inside was once alive. Furthermore, while talking to Gibdos with their respective masks equipped, you are able to discover what they need in order to pass on from this world. How a 10-year-old boy is absolutely not terrified of this? I have no idea. Link has some major cojones under that tunic though. So, although the Smash Bros. Series states that these dark beings are nothing more than magical clay, the in-game evidence within the own Zelda series says otherwise. Part of me was hoping they were only clay for the sake of striking off my childhood fears, but I guess I'll have to schedule some therapy next week based on my new findings. So, In the battle of corpse versus clay, it looks like corpse is our reigning champion. But enough about my thoughts. What about you? Corpse or clay? Paper or plastic? ReDead or Gibdo? I'd love to hear about your own childhood experiences and any insight you may have on the topic. So, I insist, leave us a comment below. Thanks again for joining us on our haunted trip into the past. If you'd like to join us on our YouTube voyage and continue on your trek to becoming a zombie, then the subscribe button is just what you're looking for. Thanks for watching, guys and gals, and until our next video, cheers. Nintendo 64 was a system that most of us can never forget. And for good reason. Why would you want to forget something so awesome? I spent countless hours on each and every game and often played through them several times.